Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, welcome to the 10K project. We hope everyone is doing well tonight. Put your city and state in the chat for us so we can recognize you. We have two extraordinary guests that are coming. They have confirmed with me, so they will be here any moment. In the meantime, Tawana is unable to be here tonight, so we are going to do this with her in mind. I'm just trying to get all my, like it's a thing for me to try to get all of my windows up, make sure all the social media can see us, but they can. So hello, everybody. If you are in YouTube or Facebook, please like and share the stream. Please like and share the stream so we can get the algorithms up. Everybody, welcome to the 10K project. We are the largest community of investors who actively fund Black-owned businesses, but we do so much more than that. We are focusing on really helping the community with regards to curating all sorts of investments that you can get into. So if you want to buy a business, there's a group for that. There are people that can help you with that. If you want to get into real estate, we're still negotiating with that person to talk about that. If you want to get more into stock investing, we're working on a mastermind for that. We have all sorts of things that are coming up in the fall to help you invest and have a wide range of things that you are able to invest in. We also have some other things that we are working on as well. So, if you're the type of person that wants to learn about different things you can invest in, and then actually wants to act on that information, then you are in the right place. You can come to the10kproject.com to learn more about our membership and sign up. Also, tomorrow night, we have a gentleman coming, Ryan, who is somebody who helps you make money as a professional speaker or motivational speaker. So tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time, if that is something that interests you, definitely let me know. More importantly than that, you can go to the event calendar and just sign up. If you're a member already, you should already have the Zoom link in your email. And tomorrow at 8 p.m. is About on Black Pitch. It's actually an open pitch with a woman named Arlen Hamilton, who is a well-respected venture capitalist. And she is raising money for a new company. She actually discovered a need in the marketplace for startup companies. And based on what I've seen, it is a big need. It's something that I definitely could see doing very well. It's not investment advice, but at least come listen to her pitch tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. You should have the Zoom link in your email, and you should get a reminder today at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and then you'll get reminders tomorrow as well by text and by email. Other than that, I think those are my announcements for the events of the week. I'm very excited to invite two guests on. Jonathan, do you have your, can you come on screen?
I'm trying to get my camera to work right now. I'm gathering my notes. My apologies.
Okay.
My apologies. Let me see.
Okay,
Sorry about that, Sherry.
that's fine. So I've got two great guests for you here today. There he is. So I got two great guests here today. So our first guest is Jonathan Phillips. He goes on YouTube by the name Real Deal Financial. He talks a lot about stocks, about real estate, about the economy, things like that. But he specifically is here to talk tonight about stock market investing. I texted him earlier today about the CHIPS Act as well. So hopefully he'll be able to talk to us a little bit about that. But the more research I did, the more I kind of want to do a separate stream for all of you with regards to that, because it kind of goes deep. There's going to be a lot of money and a lot of opportunities that are coming through the CHIPS Act. So we also, I'm strolling through LinkedIn like I do. Some people stroll through Clubhouse, some people stroll through Twitter. I stroll through LinkedIn to see who I could find. And this woman, beautiful woman here named Romy Pickren, she put up a post saying that she and her husband paid off their student loans in 2.5 years. And as somebody who still has student loans, I should be ashamed of myself, but I'm not. I said, anything that can help us like pay off debt and get to a better financial place is like a plus for me. So I asked her if she would come on and she said yes as well. So you are getting a double header this evening. Again, everybody, don't forget to put your city and state in the chat so that we can recognize you. We got Georgia in the house. We got California. We've got Beulah from Tennessee. We've got Kansas City. We have is the business purchase, is that in the Knowledge Center? So the basic webinar that we did is in the Knowledge Center. And on August 29th, we do have Robin Mansell coming back to talk about it again, but then you will have to upgrade in order to get the masterclass. But the masterclass is really, really good. So Talisha's already answered that question for you. Yeah, but you can definitely go and see her introductory information. So Virginia's here from Atlanta, and Dr. Virginia saying that real deal is the GOAT. And welcome to Romy. So we got California in the house. All righty then, everybody. Yeah. Continue to put your city and state in the chat. If you are in YouTube, don't forget to give us a like. I see Tia here from Maryland in YouTube. If you're in Facebook, please like the video. I see Gwendolyn here from Alabama. Tawana in Facebook is here from DC. Hello to you. And of course, my Twitter family, thank you so much for liking the stream and sharing. So let's get started. First of all, let's start with Jonathan. Stock investing. Tell us a little bit about your story, how you got into it, and why Dr. Virginia is calling you the GOAT.
Well, I started in high school. It was sophomore year, so I was 16 at the time. And around that time, it was the recovery of the economy. So I knew that from all the stocks that were from back in 07 that were $65, that's 15. I at least think that it should go to 40. I told my pops all the time, buy this, buy General Mills, buy Walmart, buy this, buy that. And so far, he's still sitting on it to this day. So when it comes to my story of stock investment, I'm just passionate about business. I love negotiating, love talking to people. I like the aspect of structuring deals. So when it comes to stock market, it's just an equivalency of just understanding business acumen through multiple sectors. So stock market investing has helped me at least be able to get to my first car, has helped me, and today's my mother's birthday, so my mother will be coming anytime. So she's turning 56.
Happy birthday to your mom.
She's coming over anytime, so
she must be proud of you.
She'll probably barge right
That's
in.
Okay. That's okay.
She'll knock on the door, but when it comes to I do it for my family. I do it for the legs that come after me, and I do it on the aspect of helping others. Dr. Virginia, she's been with me since day one. So when it comes to stock market investing, it's important. It's so important. If the stock market crashes 40% from right now to 40% down, everybody's influenced. Everybody's influenced, no matter if you're in the corporate office or you're holding stocks yourself. So that forced me in high school to be able to focus on what's going on in investments. How can I be more strategic? How can I be cerebral? How can I look at other people's scenarios of companies? So when I built my own corporation, I know what to do and I know what not to do. But
Yeah.
let me stop being long-winded. But I appreciate the opportunity being here.
Yeah. So Melody Hobson is a very influential stock investor. She runs Ariel Investments, and she did a survey a while back that said something like it was less than 50% of Black people are actually investing in the stock market. I wish I had pulled it up so I could get you the exact research. But why do you think, more of us are not involved in the stock market?
Question to be, that was for me.
Mhm.
I don't think it's necessarily anything but just situations of just not directed. If it was a scenario of directed, then it'd be all good.
What do you mean directed?
Your father, your mother pretty much pushing you when it comes to economics, because my mother always gave me economics textbooks. So maybe when it comes to me, it was something that was guided, more like pushed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when it comes to the stock market, a lot of people that are in corporate America, if you're lucky, you can get stock options. So maybe it's a situation of maybe your job forces you to get involved. Really, I don't know, because really
Yeah,
high school doesn't teach finances. So if they
that's
teach
true.
more financial literacy in high school, econ classes, that can be able to at least bring in, $15 billion in GDP to the Black community.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the Bible says we perish through the lack of knowledge. Romy, I believe you're a financial advisor, right?
Yes, I'm actually a certified financial planner, and there's only 2% of us, 2% of Black certified financial planners within the U.S. So your stat was, it was on point. 59% of Black women are not invested in any assets, and 42% of Black men are not invested in any assets.
Now, how does that compare to the white community or like everybody else?
Well, let's say about 23% of white men are not invested in any assets, and then white women, it's about 35%. So we definitely are behind when it comes to investing.
Right. Now, why do you think that is?
I believe there's several factors that play into us not being investors. One of those reasons is fear.
Mhm.
I feel like as Black people, we have been conditioned to be afraid of certain things, and finances is one of those things. We're getting to the point where we're earning the most money that we've ever earned.
Mhm.
Black women are the most educated group in the United States. So we're getting this education, we're earning the most money that we've ever earned, we're starting businesses. And so we still have this fear of losing what we have built. So that's one of the things that I hear from my clients and my associates is that, yeah, we're making this money, but what do we do with it? We don't want to lose it. We're earning the most money that we've ever earned in our families and our generation. So now that we built it, we darn sure don't want to lose it.
We're risk averse,
We're
and
very risk averse.
I can understand some of that from a historical point of view because we were, and from what I know, we were the only ones that had our money stolen from us by the United States government with
Yes.
what the Freedom Bank was called, the bank that Frederick Douglass ran, I think it
Yes.
was.
Yeah.
So and like some of our ancestors who probably are grandparents today, depending on how young or old we are, we saw land stolen from us and things like that. So I wonder if some of that has something to do with it as well. I'm glad to see Raphael is here. He talks to a lot of people too. He's saying here, I want to read his first thing. Because so many Black folks don't have knowledge of the stock market and they're afraid of it, is what Raf is saying. Virginia's saying exactly, fear and lack of knowledge. And then Raf is saying, and because they don't want to admit fear, they rationalize it by calling the stock market a scam. Okay, so that's,
Yes.
so that's interesting. Okay, yeah, I mean, I think that that there are reasons for, Black people, to say, okay, I'm not sure about this thing, or okay, is this a scam, et cetera, because we see a lot of people taking advantage of us, right? But the stock market is actually the way that wealth is really built in these other communities. I believe personally that the path to a lot of Black people creating generational wealth and not just high income is for us to actually, become skilled labor, is what I've been talking about, and then take that money and invest it into stock market, into real estate, into tax deeds, tax liens, all the stuff that Jonathan talks about. I'm sure, Romy, you talk about those things as well, at least some of those things, and our businesses as well. Our businesses can be an asset. I'm going to toss it out to Jonathan. What are some of your thoughts with regards to how people should think about stock market investing? Some of the things they should think about as they're actually thinking about getting into it.
Well, one, consumer discretionary. If we are going to be, and this is not me being facetious, but if we're going to be the number one consumer, 1.5 trillion, 1.9 trillion in spending power.
Yes.
If we're going to utilize that spending power, Walmart, Dollar Tree, beauty supply manufacturers in China, situations where it can be surrounding and revolving of what we do, what we know, and what we're familiar with. When it comes to me, my angle situation of stocks was politicians. That's something that my parents always got me informed of: politics, what's an executive order, what's the situation of reconciliation, what's the scenario of Congress, what's the process of the funds being funneled. And that actually made me think, okay, since right now when it comes to Ukraine, defense, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, radiotic technologies, something that Cherie can be able to attest to. I mentioned that in 2021, Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, he used to work at Raytheon Technologies. So I knew if I can be able to figure out who is the politicians, who is the people that used to work for here that got appointed, that's guaranteed money. So my angle with it is, if you guys love the spin, let's be able to make sure that we can be able to make some money off the dividends.
Yeah, and I do want to say Jonathan is not a certified financial advisor.
No.
Yeah, so we want to protect. Yeah, so this what he's saying and what I'm saying tonight is for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Yes.
But what you mentioned about like how the economy is working and seeing where the money is going within the government, you had mentioned, for example, capital trades, which I told so many people about. Capital trades, yes, and I'll pull it up tonight for everybody. But I noticed when the last time that I went in there, one of the top politicians bought a whole bunch of Five Below stock. The store Five Below.
Stocks. I'm telling you, Dollar Tree, Five Below.
Yeah, and today, I saw an article in, I think it was Business Insider, that said that, oh my goodness, I'm gonna pull it up. It was some extraordinary amount of Americans are going to Dollar Tree and Five Below in order to purchase their necessities. So I want to pull that article up. Romy, I'm going to toss it over to you. What are some of your thoughts with regard, since you are a financial advisor, with regards to the stock market, some of the things that we should be thinking about? Let me pull up this article here so that we can educate people about this.
So some of the things that Jonathan mentioned, and kudos, to him for also being in the industry and doing the work to get more of us invested in the market. But just as he mentioned, some of the things that we need to be aware of, like some of the big players in the game, such as like the Googles and Apples and so forth, some of these have dropped 20 and 30%, and that rarely happens. So when we have situations where some of these big players in the stock market take that big of a dip, but we depend on them so much, we know that they're going to rebound. they're going to come back. So we have to be able to take advantage of those type of discounts in the stock market, because they don't happen often with these big players in the game that we use often. So based on what Jonathan said, if we're going to be consumers right now, we're using technology to conduct this session. We're consuming these things. So you have to think about, how can I also benefit from some of these tools and technology that I'm using?
Yeah, I still can't find the article. I'm like determined to find it though, because I wanted to say it was something like 70% of Americans, like whatever the amount was, it was astronomical, but I don't want to get it wrong. But we are seeing again, for example, with the Chips Act, which Jonathan, I would love. Did you like pull any of that up, or did you
Well,
want me
I
to show what I have?
I researched a lot of semiconductor stocks, so you can pull up what you have. But yeah,
Okay.
we have a lot of semiconductor stocks that's connected with the government.
Yeah, so I actually pulled up a good video about the Chips Act as well. See, this is why I need my partner here, Tawana, 'cause like I have so much I want to show everybody. I had been preparing for today, but that's okay. So let me pull up, because I found a really good video that's 2 minutes here. So, okay, stop. Okay. I'll share my screen. Okay, and let me also share my sound. Here we go. And this is 1 minute 46 seconds overall about the CHIPS Act.
We want to bring you some breaking news. The House passing the Bipartisan Chips Act. The bill will be sent to President Biden's desk, making federal funding for new chip manufacturing law. Now, the bill includes over $52 billion for U.S. companies producing chips domestically, as well as $24 billion in tax credits to encourage investment in chip manufacturing. Dave, you and I and Rochelle, you too, have talked about this at length here over the last couple of weeks. Finally, we're seeing agreement here between the Democrats and the Republicans, at least on this issue.
It's rather remarkable, actually, how long this thing festered and sat, about a year after initially agreed upon, when it seemed like the majority of senators and congressmen agreed that our CHIPS Act had to pass, that we had to compete with Taiwan, we had to compete with China. And now we have broad bipartisan support for, quite frankly, anything in Washington. It is astounding. This is a big win for Intel. Certainly like to check what their shares are doing, but they stand to be the biggest beneficiary opening that plant in Ohio soon. They have said that that was subject to passage of this bill, Rochelle.
And as we did hear from our Jobs Ohio CEO and president yesterday, obviously this is going to take some time, but these were plans that have essentially been put on hold, waiting for this legislation to pass. So the jobs that could come from this and what this actually means in terms of U.S. manufacturing starting to come back, as we know that the U.S. lost market share, went down from, I believe, 40% to 12% when it came to chip manufacturing. So it'll take time, obviously, for that momentum to kick in, but obviously a step in the right direction for U.S. chip manufacturers. Shauna?
Certainly is a step in the right direction. The House vote 243 to 187.
Let's be real. When you're out.
Okay, so Jonathan.
Okay. So not RBCN is a semiconductor manufacturer that's literally tied to drones, tied to military supplies and equipment. Once again, this is not financial advice by no stretch of the means. Then I have another manufacturer company, ticker BELIFB.
Say that again for people.
BEL.FB. So this is a Class B stock, and this is a semiconductor stock that's involving in the same situation, technology.
Can you look in the chat? Did I spell that right? We want to put this in the chat for people. BEL.FB.
Yes. So that's Bell Fuse Inc., Class B stock.
Okay, now what do they do?
Both in the situation of tech. So it's going to be drone manufacturing, semiconductor chips when it comes to drones, mainly drones. So the nationwide broad, we saw Qualcomm, we saw Intel, all the semiconductors, they're pretty much based off of general goods that we have, electronics, my remote, my cell phone, our laptops. Even my laptop right here is powered by Intel.
Yeah, so I want to share my screen again so that people can see this. So this is some of the semiconductor stock.
Yes.
Yeah,
NVIDIA,
so,
Micron, they're all pretty much tied when it comes to, well, at least one of them is Apple, I believe. If it's not Intel, I think it's Taiwan Semiconductors, but they're trying to onshore back.
yes, they are. And there's another, I'm going to do a much longer segment, and maybe Jonathan, you want to come on and we'll see. We may open it up to the public. It may just be members only, but there's another segment that I saw that there are plants that are going to be built across the country. There's this one little small town in Ohio, for example, and they're saying that the average job there is going to be $130,000 a year. So when we're talking to people about these things, I keep pushing tech for everybody. You know, we had launchcode.org come on, these other places. They are willing to train us. You know, one of the big things within the Black community is we think that the immigrants get everything. Well, part of it is that they go for things, you know, and this labor, these things will have to be done. And if we're not going to step up, they're going to import the labor. They're going to import it. So it's best right now, if you thinking that you want to make a move, whatever, to actually do some research, figure out what skills you need. There's a lot of free and very low cost training out there to get you in the door. And then once you get in the door, you're able to ask your new employer for additional dollars in order to be skilled up. But anybody can, I believe anybody can do it. So go ahead, Jonathan. I want to ask you as well, and I haven't had a chance to look this up, so next time we'll be a lot more organized, but I wondered if there was a semiconductor ETF as well. Let's say that the person doesn't want to buy all of these stocks individually. I wondered if maybe there was an ETF out there,
Yes.
like there are for other industries.
Yes, so let me, I'm gonna have to probably share my screen in order to make this. All right. Hold on. ETF.
And Romy, you can hop in at any time too.
SOXX, I believe.
SOXL. Okay. So
these are 11 semiconductor ETFs. I'm gonna put that link in the chat. Be blessed with that.
So this is SOXL. This is saying Direction Daily Semiconductor. You're going in and out, Jonathan. He's going in and out. We're sorry, everybody. He may have to log out and come back in. I don't know if this is an ETF though. I'd have to do more research on this.
You hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yes.
You hear me?
Yes.
No, can. Hear me?
I don't know this is.
Yes, it is. Yes. Let me come right back. Now you can hear me? Okay,
Yeah.
yes, it is a 3x ETF.
This
So
is an ETF.
Direction
Okay.
has both bear and bull 3 ETFs. So that means if semiconductors is up 3% of the day, you can expect 9%. That's basically of 3% upside when it comes to all the semiconductor stocks. If Intel is up, then should be up dramatically. But
Okay.
the CHIPS Act, 52 billion, 24 billion in tax credits. Mainly all the warehousing stocks, I need to do the research, but if you guys want something that's simplistic and a nice little bundle with this ETF right here, I gave you guys a list in the chat as well. So please.
Okay.
tell me
Yeah.
if that-
We're gonna put it in here.
Okay.
The semiconductor ETF is here. And I have been ignoring my people in YouTube. They're probably like, what about us? So let me come over here now, everybody. I just gave you all the ETF there. Okay. Oops. So I'm just kind of gonna pull it up on the
And another
screen.
thing that the government's prioritizing is nuclear energy. Remember that, everybody. Uranium, that's being prioritized. President Biden is adamant when going green. So nuclear energy, so uranium. So Uranium Energy Corp is not financial advice by no stretch of the means, but I'm definitely doing my research and looking at it very closely. So Uranium Energy Corp, they are American-based company. Need to find some more nuclear power plant stocks. So when it came to the next, what rumored, what's going to be next on the agenda is going to be uranium, nuclear power plants, and turning the UK's already go. Really, we become a nuclear powerhouse. We can be able to make cleaner energy so that we can lower our carbon dioxide, not carbon dioxide,
Carbon emissions.
carbon emissions. So that's their prioritizing goal. So I'm still in oil and gas stocks, I'm never gonna leave those, but those stocks, when it comes to uranium, those gonna be prioritized very bigly due to the fact that one, they have a goal, they have a 2030 goal. So they're trying to wean us out of cars, at least regular gas burning cars. So black folks, it's time to get ahead of them something, because these stocks took a beating, so they're very discounted, that and banking stocks. So
Yeah, I think, short term though, so there's two types of investing that I always think about. I think short term and long term. And sometimes you may have an industry or a stock that takes a beating. However, if you believe in it long term, well, I'm gonna say for me, if I believe in it long term, I'll still hang on to it because it may rebound. 2 years from now, it may do better than you would have ever thought. I know when the economy, when COVID happened, I bought hotels, I bought we call it cruise ships, and I bought airlines, right? And 2 years later, they were up, right? So I do think it's important that people not panic because something in your portfolio is down. Romy, what do you think about that?
I think your portfolio should be well diversified. So, because there's always going to be a sector that's down. In fact, there's always going to be more than one sector down at once. So there's 11 sectors within the stock market. So if you have a position in each one of them, and not only just a position, multiple positions in each one of them, then you'll be protected, because as I mentioned, there's always going to be down sectors. But if you have a diverse portfolio, then you hedge your portfolio in a way to where if one sector is down, then another one may be up. Or in some cases, like what we have today, when almost every sector is down, then maybe yours won't be down as much if you are diversified. So I am a big proponent of diversifying your assets across all different sectors, so that way you're hedging yourself.
Yeah. I guess I just think about my mom. She'll scream if she hears me talking about her here, but y'all won't tell her I said this. Like if she sees any kind of negative on her report, she really does panic. And I understand that that's partially her age as well and things like that, right? But for some of us who are in our 40s, I think just the biggest thing, again, check with your own financial advisor about your own specific portfolio. But one of the big things that I just wanted to, tell people is don't panic. Don't panic if you're in your 30s, 40s, even potentially your 50s, if you see a negative today, because, we tend to sell off. And this is not just Black people, this is like all people tend to sell when things are down. And who comes and scoops up our shares? The hedge funds, right? And people who are like, you know what? I'm going to ride this wave up. So I just want people to, like, again, talk to your own financial advisor about your own personal situation, but don't panic. Don't panic is one of the big things. And then, like with Jonathan, he's saying whatever the government is the biggest buyer that's out there. So whatever the government is investing in, find the companies that relate to that industry. Whatever the politicians are investing in. I love that capitaltrades.org. I'm gonna show it to everybody again, but I love seeing like the politician and seeing what committees they're on and what they're buying. And I'm like, look, don't try to beat Nancy Pelosi. Don't try to get her to change her husband's mind. Let them buy whatever they're buying and buy alongside them. I'm all fine for playing the game like they do. Either one of you want to comment on that? We have a couple of questions in here as well, but I want to open it up to you.
She can go first.
You have anything else to comment?
I'm certainly in agreement with that buying, taking a look at what the biggest buyers are doing. In the investment world, we call that smart money, like the institutional buyers, the 401k buyers, the government, and so forth. So it's always a good idea to take a look at what they're buying and what they're doing. And also some of the big investors, the Warren Buffetts, of course, usually when he buys, there's always some sort of a headline or news article. But of course, you have to make sure that what you're buying, it aligns with your overall goals, because sometimes things just don't. They may be too risky, or they may not be, have enough risk associated with them, depending on your goals. But I do believe for the average person that is a good strategy to implement, because based on policies, that's where the money is flowing. So go with the flow of the money. That is a good strategy. But ultimately, I think that also enough of us, we have to find a financial advisor and get more knowledgeable when it comes to finances and strategies. And if you don't have the knowledge yourself, you don't have the time to get the knowledge, then find an expert who can help guide you along the way, because we can't be an expert in everything. So outsource and seek out someone like myself, like Jonathan. I'm a part of an association called the Association of African American Financial Advisors. And we're an organization of African American financial advisors dedicated to uplifting and helping our community grow their assets.
Yeah. Now, full disclosure, within the 10K project, we also have our connection with Freeman Capital, but Romy is our guest today. So the biggest thing is for our members to find the financial advisor that's going to work well for them. So,
yes, whomever that may be.
Whomever that may be, exactly. So I want to go through some of these comments. We have some questions here for Jonathan, and I definitely want to get to Romy's story. She and her husband paid off $130,000 of student loan debt in 2.5 years. So we're going to get to some of these final questions with regards to the stock market and then bring Romy up to talk about her story. So Raphael is saying the funny thing is the stock market is the most passive investment class and has the lowest barrier for entry. Talk about that. So literally when the pandemic happened, I was like in bed one night at like 11 o'clock at night. And I said, what's probably down right now, but going to go up again? Hotels and, Carnival cruises and things like that. I literally rolled over, picked up my smartphone, got on my app. I use Stash, but you can use all sorts of apps out there. Bought 5 minutes, bought the things. I should have bought some Home Depot and Lowe's. I wasn't thinking about people were going to do home repair. And like literally put the phone down, rolled over and went back to sleep. Like there was a time when you could not do that, where you actually had to physically go someplace, open up a brokerage account, et cetera, et cetera. These days, the barrier to entry for getting in the stock market is super low, super low. So, and I'm hearing feedback from somewhere. And let's see here. Ebert is saying, Jonathan is offering great advice. Knowledge of the stock market is all around. And he said, look at the products one buys every day as a start. Good stuff. Back the truck up and buy. Absolutely. Beulah's asking about the fashion industry. Do you know any public companies in the fashion industry that, or ETFs maybe that Beulah can take a look at?
Me personally, well, I was investing in Gap because of Kanye West. So
you're investing in what?
Gap.
Gap. Okay.
GAP. So only why I did that was because I knew someone from here in LA that's either, I don't know if he's in the camp, but he was saying that Gap is getting ready to pay him and Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner thing didn't go through, but Kanye West getting in touch with Gap. Plus, when it comes to his high ticket products, that's how Bernard Arnault, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, CEO, has pretty much made his bones off of. With Kanye West, if he can transition it correctly, very high risk, extremely high risk. But if he can, in my feeling, in my opinion, this is not financial advice by no stretch of the means, please. If he can perfect it, he could potentially get those people to be able to spend $4,000 to $5,000 on his product. And you times that by a million, numbers just go up astronomically. So when it comes to fashion, Gap, other stuff from fashion, maybe some discounted stores that involved in fashion, because those are recession proof. And like you mentioned, Dollar Tree blew up 60% in the 2008 recession.
Yeah. Dollar Tree, I think is going to be good. Dollar Tree and Five Below, again, not financial advice from me either. I swear I'm going to find this article, hopefully, while Romy is speaking, because whatever the percentage was, I was like, that many people? So, yeah. So Dr. Virginia is saying we must position ourselves, Romy, the rebound is going to happen, period. So, let's see here. And Raphael is saying we also need to see where the planned locations are for these plants and bid on construction. Raph, that's a very interesting point that you made. I'm part of a military group, and I have asked them about that as well. And as I'm doing my research, I'm going to come and do just a separate section on that. Raph, if you want to be on the panel for that, let me know. Let me know. Let's see here. We have Beulah asking about the electric car market. I think Jonathan had to go to greet his mother. Oh, you're here? Okay.
I'm here. My mom is calling me. I'm gonna buy her some Olive Garden.
Okay. Buy her some stock with it. So we'll give you a couple of minutes to buy her Olive Garden, and we'll come back to your question, Beulah.
While I'm back now, I was just doing a little text. I didn't want to.
Oh, okay. Beulah's asking about the electric car market, so electric vehicles.
Rivian, we have Rivian. Then we have Lucid Motors. We already know the big homie Tesla. They already government backed. Plus California gave them so many tax credits that they literally reinvested and just paid off just zombie numbers. But Rivian, Lucid Motors, what else? Ford, they're getting into electric vehicle game. Toyota, they're getting in the electric vehicle game. Charge Point, CHPT, that's the charging stations. So whenever someone has an apartment building and they don't have a house, Charging Point, they're going to probably work with local governments, Section 8 housing, public housing authorities to be able to make sure that they can get electric vehicles in gas stations, well, not electric vehicles, but electric charging stations in gas stations, apartment buildings, Walmart, big box landmarks areas, so they can be able to compete. The situation that they have a problem is, one, it's expensive right now. Two, a lot of people is not, how can I say, not going for the transition as smoothly due to the fact that, electric vehicles $80,000 to $100,000 from the times. But please,
I think that's gonna come down though over time. So
yeah,
I believe it will. The government is pumping a lot of money into EV as well. So
because we got like 1 million EV cars. We need about 150 million of things in order for
I think it'll come over time though. It's just like the regular cars, the cars that we have today. You didn't see like 150 million of them pop up. Like, it transitions over time. So but I would imagine in the next 10 years, you'll see that. Romy, you took yourself off mute. What do you think?
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. And the government is also giving rebates for citizens to purchase electric vehicles. So it's going to take some time, but all of those companies that Jonathan named are, big into EV charging stations and so forth. So please take a look at them, do your due diligence, because that is the future.
Yeah. So Beulah's saying we invested in solar. So yeah, there are a lot of solar companies that are picking up steam as well in the Midwest. Yeah, go ahead, Jonathan.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Go ahead.
So a ticketer, this is not financial advice. I gotta keep saying this because people think this is direct views. ASTI. This has a government contract when it comes to NASA due to the fact that, one, there are merger and acquisitions, so they buy equipment companies. Solar isn't part of their little bundle portfolio. So merger and acquisition companies, they raise the money to maybe 500 million to $1 billion to say we're gonna buy 20 companies in different niches within tech. This company has a situation of government contracting. ASTI, very cheap. I think it's still under $1. So we just got to be able to do the research, hold in tight, look at other companies that's in the merger and acquisitions. And another thing that I do personally, I Google alert everything that's in EV.
What is in EV? Oh, electric vehicle.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So we talking manufacturers, we talking builders, government contracts, maybe an electric company that's going to buy some. So everything that's in that niche, it's golden. But solar companies also have its pushback, because a lot of people have pushbacks when it comes to solar companies due to the fact that if you can't buy it in whole, you got to finance, if you miss a payment, they can put a lien on the house. And
that's awful. Oh,
yeah, I worked with realtors where they say, yo, man, real, I'm trying to get this house off, and we do a title search and get that solar lien. So, that's why a lot of people like, maybe the electric vehicle will surpass solar panels. I think it will, but
So people are asking you to put that last stock
okay.
that you said to research. Do me a favor. You see where it says host and panelists only, because you're only putting it in for host and panelists. If you can do the drop down and make sure that it's going to everyone. And while you're doing that, I see your question in YouTube, Natasha. Your question is, thank you, Jonathan, Romy, and Cherie. What policies should we follow to pick stocks while we anticipate the mid-elections? I don't know about Jonathan or Romy. I'm going to say what Jonathan said before. Follow the money with regards to what the government policy, what the government is looking to spend money on now. Because Biden is still going to be president after the midterm elections. So, so that would be my advice to you. So Sylvia's saying, yes, thanks. He did state more than one. Can he type all of them? So and everybody, this is on YouTube, and I'm also going to make sure, and it's also in our Facebook groups, and I'm going to make sure to send you the replay as well. So no, Romy has not told her story yet, so we are going to pass that over to her now. So again, Romy and her husband paid off $130,000 in student loan debt in 2.5 years. Romy, I'm going to pass it over to you. Tell us how you did it.
Yes, thank you so much, Cherie. And before we get started, I would just like to put things into perspective. So currently there are about 46 million student loan borrowers in the United States for a total of $1.7 trillion of student loan debt. So when you see people protesting, this is the reason why, because student debt has really gotten out of control. And on average, it takes between 20 years on the low end and 40 years on the high end for student borrowers to pay their student debt. So we're talking about a mortgage. Like, this is really crippling people from accomplishing key economic milestones, such as, buying their first home, or starting a family, savings and investing, some of the things that we're talking about today. So yes, my spouse and I paid off $130,000 of student loan debt within 2.5 years. And basically, although I'm the certified financial planner, my spouse actually came to me with the idea of us partnering together to accelerate paying down our student debt, because this is before we were actually married and before our finances were joined. So together we had over $130,000 actually, but by the time that we decided to consolidate our debt and work together, it was at 130. So the first step that we did was actually consolidated our student debt, because when you're in a couple, especially at the beginning, your finances are usually separate and you're just kind of taking care of things here and there. But we decided, like, what, if we're going to get serious about this, we have to put it together and really tackle it together. And so that was the first thing that we did. We consolidated our debt together so we could take a closer look at everything. And so we organized it according to the balances and the rate. So we made 2 lists. One with the balances. So we started with the smallest balance all the way up to the highest balance. And then the second one was the student debt according to the rate associated with them. So smallest rate to the highest rate. So 2 separate lists, one with the balances and one with our rates, just so we could have a clear idea of what we were working with, because at that point, we weren't exactly 100% sure how we would address or attack the student debt. We just know we needed to be able to see it and have a clear picture of what we had. And so I will share with you at the very beginning, when you actually take a look at your student debt, it is extremely overwhelming. If you're like myself, you may have like a few different loans with different lenders. So you may not have taken a look at all of it at once. So it is very overwhelming at first. And it's going to hurt to take a look at it. But trust me, there is power in being able to take a look at your finances and to know that, you know, you'll be able to accomplish it and get it done, because the first step is seeing what you have. And then that way, you know that you can develop a plan to take care of it in the future. So it's also empowering to be able to, you know, see what you have there. So after we consolidated our
I'm
student
sorry, I
debt,
just want to say it's empowering, but it's also kind of scary as well. I
it's very scary.
personally believe that that's like the hardest thing, is to really kind of like take a deep breath, say, okay, I'm going to sit down, and no matter what the number is, it's like a woman getting on the scale. Like,
Yes.
you know, she knows she's gained 30 pounds, but like to be able to say, no matter what the number is, I'm just going to accept the number as it is. And I'm just going to say, okay, this is the plan of action. Talk to us a little bit more just about like how you did that. And, you know, it could be that you just have the type of husband who's like, damn it, get it done, you know, because maybe women are just more emotional about it. I don't know. But like, how do you actually do that?
Take a look at everything, or just the actual steps?
Just the actual step, like mentally
Mhm.
getting yourself in
Yes.
the mental frame of mind to say, Latrice is saying, preach about the weight. Trust me, I know, like I'm a living
Yes.
specimen of it. But yeah, like that whole mental thing, because it's easier said than done. It's easy to say, just write everything down, you know, when you're like, I don't
No,
know
no,
if
no.
I,
Yes.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is
So
tough. And that's why I started off by saying it can be overwhelming and it hurts to look. There is pain in looking. There is a lot of pain in looking. But you know what, Cherie, for the ultimate goal for us was financial freedom, and is financial freedom. So we understood the assignment. We understood that financial freedom is on the other side of us looking at all of this that we have here in front of us. So it is tough, and you do have to brace yourself. It's like taking a big hit in the chest when you first see it. But ultimately, to know that the end goal is financial freedom, to me, then that's worth the pain of having to, you know, sit there and look and endure that weight of all the student debt that we had. So we knew that financial freedom was always the ultimate goal. So that was worth it for us.
and somebody is saying here, who is this? Is saying T. Terrell, student loan debt is discharged / forgiven upon death. I know another Black person, Dana, real Dana, she's like, reparations gonna pay my student loan. It's a little soft, right? So my thought process, look, for the longest time, I like did not, you know, I had the blinders on with my student loan. But the truth is that as you age, as you get older, in my opinion, I'm just gonna say for me, as I age, as I get older, I want to be completely debt free, including my house, like everything, because I saw my mother and my father. My mother, and this is very personal information, but it's like two coins here. My mother still was paying on a mortgage. She still had to work, things like that. My father had no debt, no house debt. He had paid off his house, he had paid off his car, he had some money in the bank, and he played music. He played the organ in the church to make a little bit of money, plus his Social Security. And he was like 10 years before he died, chilling, right? So when I look at those two groups of people, I'm like, well, my parents, I shouldn't, groups of people, my parents, I say, okay, Cherie, you really need to get serious about paying off all of your debt, your house, you know, your student loan, things like that. Also, it hasn't prohibited me from making a move. When I say making a move, I mean like getting something done, something really big done. But what if it does in the future? What if me having so much student loan debt prohibits me from getting something I really want in the future? So T. Terrell, I'm not telling you to pay your student loan. I'm just kind of opening up the conversation for us to think about student loans and how we want to think about them in our lives. So I'll toss it back over to you, Romy. I saw that comment and I just wanted to talk about it.
Well, I will tell you to pay your student loans because no one is coming to save you. We started our plan back in 2017. And back in 2017, you know, before Biden got elected, that's when there was talk. That's when the talk started about, okay, can we get the student loan debt wiped away by this new administration? And so at the beginning, before we started our plan to pay back our student debt, we had a conversation and we were like, you know, should we wait and to see what the new administration will do? That was 2017. And here we are in 2022, and there is still no solution from the government to take care of student debt.
So and it's probably not going to be taken care of either. I've been watching the politics on it, and there's too much money made in the student loan sphere industry, for them to just walk away from it.
Exactly, and I think that people are honestly getting their hopes up for nothing. People are getting their hopes up for nothing. Now, if the administration decides to do 5 or 10,000. That's great. But throughout this time, how much have you paid in interest? You've paid 5 to 10,000, if not much more than that. Remember, the average person takes between 20 and 40 years. So you've doubled, if not tripled or quadrupled the money in interest that you paid to your student loan. So you could have paid it twice, thrice, 4 times over. So the administration is not going to save you. And that's what we had to realize and have a serious conversation about. And so that's when we decided to, you know, get serious about paying back our student debt. So after we consolidated our debt together, and made the 2 separate sheets, one with the balances and rates, then we took inventory of our money, because that's extremely important. Now that you've taken a look at your debt, now you need to take inventory of your money, because you have to find out where every piece of dollar is going. And then you have to find out where that extra money is going, the money that you can possibly put towards your student debt to help you pay it off. And so basically we got really serious about that and took a look at our variable fixed expenses for over 1 month. We just tracked it seriously, down to the penny for 1 month. And that's very important, because you need to see where your money is going. And what we found is that most of our money, our variable expenses,
eating out.
That's it. It's eating out for everyone. It's eating out. So it's we were spending almost like a car note a month, eating out. And I was like, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We were almost spending individually $500, $450 a month on eating out. So together, that's $900 a month. So no, we lived in DC. So you think a regular lunch, lunch for the day is
$20.
Yeah, 15 to $20. And that's just for lunch. So dinner, you're coming out double that, 40. And so by the time the weekend gets here,
man.
Yeah, so that's $450 to $500 a month. Yeah. And so do the math times a year. So, you're spending thousands of dollars eating out. So we found that was one of our biggest expenses that we cut back drastically. We cut back drastically on eating out. And we took a look at a few other things. And one other change that we made was to our cell phone bill. We were with a high cost carrier, and we said, you know what? We got to zap that too. So we were able to save over $1,000 individually. So that's $2,000 together.
Total or a month?
For the year. For the
year. I was about to say $1,000 a month. Woo.
No, $1,000 individually for the year, but that's $2,000.
That's $2,000. Yeah. Well, I think those things add up, is what you're saying.
Yeah, those things really, really do add up. So that's why I say take inventory of your money. Cut out things that you don't need. If you have Netflix, Hulu, Roku, all of those, you have to get serious about, what's more important? And to us, our financial freedom was more important than some of the things like eating out all the time or going out to brunch. That was another expense that we found because, you know, living in DC, it's a big brunch culture. Every weekend, people want to go out to brunch. And we were like, no, we have to. We want our financial freedom more than we want that French toast. So
Now,
we're going to have to pass.
Did you allow yourself to have any fun? Did you have any kind of a fun budget? Or did
yes,
you? Okay.
We did, Cherie, because, you know, a lot of times when people think about like giving up stuff, it can be difficult. And see, we didn't give up everything. So for example, like we were used to eat out 4 times a week. So we cut that down to 2 times a week.
Okay.
So, and we always took our summer vacation. We didn't cut that out at all. We still traveled. We still had a fun budget, as you mentioned. So that's very important because you're going to need times like that to keep you encouraged. So I never recommend cutting out everything, but you certainly do have to make sacrifices. And we had a 3-year plan. So we knew that 3 years, it was going to fly by quick. In comparison, we knew that time frame was going to go by quick. So we knew that we were sacrificing for the greater good.
Yeah, see, Latrice is saying can't go cold turkey. So everybody that I've spoken with regards to this, when they've paid off a massive amount of debt, they still have kept some fun money in, which is why I wanted to ask you that, because people may listen to this tonight and think, I could never do that because I wouldn't be able to do anything. And that's not the case, you know.
No,
it's kind of like
that's not the
ladies.
Case at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like ladies. Again, I'm just kind of focusing on the weight loss thing, where you save your calories because you're going out to a special dinner or a special party on Saturday. So you save your calories during the week in order to go and like really splurge. I kind of think about it like that as well. You know, you're saving your money for whatever special thing that you want to do, and you seem to enjoy it a lot more because it is your special thing that you're doing. Now, were you cooking all the time then, or how did you?
Yes, I was. I actually bought a crock pot, so I was doing soups, I was doing chilies, I was doing things that could last for a few days, especially during the winter time. Soups and chilies were like my go-to. And I was looking up recipes because I was like, you know what, I can't just do the same thing. So I looked up recipes and I made it work. Like Saturdays and Sundays were my days to like do my meal prep for the week. So yes, get those
Now, were you a
recipes.
good cook? Were you already a good cook when this whole thing started?
I would say that I was a decent cook, but I got even better throughout this time. I got better because I started perfecting my recipes.
Well, so the reason I asked that is my mother is not a cook at all. So she never taught me how to cook. Even though I was like decent at it, she never taught me how to cook. So a few years ago, I bartered with somebody and she was an excellent cook. And she came to my kitchen. She showed me some recipes. And the biggest thing she showed me was like how to julienne vegetables and like, you know, little stuff that if you have if you have like family members who cook, you know, they teach you when you're young, but like I didn't know. So now I'm a much better cook because of that. So even investing, the reason I'm mentioning that is for some of you, you may be like, well, I'm not going to eat sardines or whatever, tuna fish or whatever people are eating all the time. Maybe taking some of that money and investing in somebody doing like one-on-one session with you, your pots, your pans, you know, and showing you how to do a few things. And then once you get the hang of like the basics, then putting the recipes together are easy. So, Ayana's asking a great question. Were you still contributing into your retirement fund during the time that you did
Yes,
this?
thank you for asking, Ayana. That was my next thing when it comes to taking inventory of your money. We also reduced our 401k contributions to the company match. So at the time, we were doing much more than the company match. But then once we started the plan for our student debt, we reduced the percentage that we were contributing to the company match.
Okay, great.
So we kept it going, but we reduced it. But that depends on your overall situation. You know, if you have to take it all the way down, you know, then I would say do that, because it really depends on also what you're earning in your 401k versus what your student loan rate may be, the interest that you're paying on your student debt. So it may be just worth reducing it all the way down to, throughout that time frame until you're able to pay it off.
Now, were there other things that you did in order to really tackle that debt?
The main thing that I want to drive home is the accountability piece, because you can do all these things, but again, it was a 3-year time frame, but we were able to pay it down in 2.5 years. So we initially, after looking at the numbers, we said, okay, it's going to be 3 years that we can pay this down, but it ended up being 2.5. And I would say one of the biggest things that helped us along the journey and helped us stay encouraged was the accountability piece, because we had one another. So at the beginning, we started with weekly check-ins. Okay, are we sticking to the budget? Did you eat out? How many times did you eat out for the week? How much did you spend for the week? And so for the first 2 months, we were meeting weekly and just, making sure that we were on track. We were holding each other accountable to help build that discipline. Because at the beginning, if you're thinking you have a 3-year goal, and so the first 2 months, you're like, this hurts.
It does hurt. Yeah.
This
but
hurts.
We've talked about family banks and family investment clubs here. Everybody, that is the family bank meeting. Your agenda is like going through what you spent over the week. So
so that accountability piece is big, and you don't have to have a spouse to do that. You can do that with a friend. You can do that with someone in the 10K project who also has student debt or similar goals. You can do that with a colleague. You can have an accountability partner with anyone who has similar goals as you, really. And I feel like that was a big piece of it, because throughout the time frame, we held each other accountable throughout all of it. Because if you think about a 2.5-year time frame, there are going to be ups and downs, in life, period. So that accountability piece was major for us, and it really helped us just stay accountable to one another in our ultimate goal of financial freedom and paying back the student debt.
Yeah, so I have a couple of final questions for you, and then I did find the article, Jonathan, going back to the Dollar Tree thing. So one question that I have for you is, you kind of semi-answered it. You were married. Is this something that single people, can do? And what are some of the pieces of advice that you would have for somebody who is single and trying to do this?
Yes. So to answer your question, yes, anyone can do this. My spouse and I actually were starting a company to help student loan borrowers accelerate paying down their student debt. So if you're single, you can take advantage of this. But the key is to find someone who has a similar goal as you, to have an accountability partner who you can share your goals with, and then share your wins and share some of the challenges that you're facing, so that you can go through them together. So yes, you definitely can have someone who can assist you with that. And we're doing that right now with a company called Pay Up Pair, where we have a beta program that we're accepting participants to help them accelerate paying down their student debt. And this program now is currently free.
Wow. And how do people get involved with that program?
Send us an email to payuppair@gmail.com.
So say that one more time. Yeah, place that in the chat. Make sure it's saying to everyone and not just host and panelists. My second question for you is, did you do any side hustles, or did you get additional skills and get better jobs or anything like that during the 3 years? Did
I
you
wish.
focus on? So I think that's amazing, because I'm always pushing for people to like skill up and increase their income and things like that. But the fact that you said you wished, meaning that you didn't necessarily have to do that and still reach your goals.
I didn't do that. I think for us, the big part of it was the inventory of our money. and being strategic about paying off the student debt, we started with the small debt first, because those small wins, when you have a long-term goal, having the small wins at the beginning, they make all the difference. So we started with paying back like some of the small debt first, like the ones that were like 1,500 or 2,500. And so once we knocked those off, we were like, okay, we got the momentum. We can tackle the bigger loans.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a side hustle, but one thing that we did do when we got like a tax return one year, we did place all of that towards our student debt. We didn't even take any of it. We just placed it all towards our student debt.
When you get the windfalls like that. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking for some people, if you want to get a side hustle, again, appliance repair, Mike Sneed is teaching people how to make $400 a day. So you could literally have an $800 to $1,000 weekend. That's $48,000 to $52,000 a year. That could just be, you take your appliance repair business and you put all your money into your student loans, and not only student loans, into any kind of debt repayment plan that you have going on, or other things that you're able to do as side hustles as well. So the final question that I have for you is, now that you have paid off $130,000 in debt, are y'all living Big Willie style? Are you tackling other things in your life? Like after that, like, what do you do after that? What do you do after that?
Cherie, I can't put you all in my business, but
your business,
I'm just kidding.
It must be just totally different for you.
Yes, like that's why I'm saying, and I recommend, pay your student debt, pay it off, because financial freedom is right on the other side. My spouse and I right now, we are enjoying our lives. We left our companies. We were, working for major corporations in the US. So we both left. We were part of the Great Resignation, because after that, we just saved our money, because we basically stuck to the same plan, the student loan plan, after we paid off our student debt, to save our money. So we saved our money. We're part of the Great Resignation. And now we both have companies that we're working towards. So we have separate companies, and then we have the individual company. My company is a wealth management firm called Asset Achievers. And then my spouse's company is a company that helps people, US citizens, expatriate from the US to Mexico. And then we have the company together, Pay Up Pair, in which we help people pay down their student debt, or accelerate paying down their student debt. So financial freedom, it's priceless. And that's what we have now. We live part-time outside of the US in Mexico. And we're in a beach town right now. I miss going to the beach today, because I was like, I need to have my hair nice for this for this session. So
we're so happy you wanted to do that, but you could have gone to the beach. We were so happy to hear your story that,
Yeah. So I have to say this, and I have to, put it out there. We are living the life of our dreams, and we realize that it is due to the fact that we paid all of our student debt. So financial freedom is everything. It's worth it.
Congratulations. T. Terrell is saying, pay off your house after you pay off your student loan. So that's my plan. Like, I have been the person who's been scared to look at all the numbers. I know what the numbers roughly are, but I'm committed over the next couple of weeks to literally sit down and write out all of my numbers and just say, okay, we're going to start tackling. Yeah, we're going to start tackling this. But I want to go back to Jonathan here. So Latrice is saying you need to get that sticker shock, LOL. I know. I just need to get the sticker shock, like you said. So Jonathan, we have been talking, we're talking before about people buying like their main staples. I couldn't find the original article, but I found a couple of others here. So amid inflation, more Americans are turning to dollar stores here. And this is saying here, so the average spending on groceries at discount chain 71% between October last year and June of this year, and spending at big name stores has decreased 5%. So Dollar Tree is expected to add 1,500 stores. Family Dollar plans to add another 800, and Dollar General is set to add 1,100 new stores this fiscal year. So these companies are preparing for, you know, the influx of Americans that are using their services, their business in order to get staple products. And then this is another thing here from the Daily Mail, even though this is Daily Mail UK. Americans are relying on dollar stores to buy dinners and bulk items as grocery prices surge 12.2%, and chains, including Walmart, say prices aren't coming down anytime soon. More than 61% of people say that they are now living paycheck to paycheck. So, yeah, so many discount store consumers are forced to depend on boxed, canned, and if they have them, frozen produce options. So, Jonathan. Oh, I think he may be helping his mom. Romy, what do you think about that? You know, definitely wanted to get Jonathan to respond as well, but what do you think about the numbers of people who are now starting to use the dollar store as like their primary place to grocery shop and buy food and things like that?
Well, it all makes sense if you think about it and put things into perspective, because food is one of the items that has increased the most due to inflation. So like food and gas. So it all makes sense. It is unfortunate because food is a necessity. So we all need it and we all have to utilize it. As far as investors, I do believe that this is an opportunity for us to take a look at some of those stores and those corporations who will benefit throughout this time, like Dollar General, Family Dollar, even Big Lots. I know that was not one that was mentioned, but I know that a lot of people shop at Big Lots, and it's right along in that segment with the dollar stores, Dollar Tree, Dollar General. So those are your stocks that are the staples in the consumer staples. We have to go to those stores to buy necessities. So if we have to utilize them, if you're thinking as far as like assets out of necessity, we have to use those places, then there is potential for opportunity in growth in the stock market.
Yeah. So, you know, Beulah's saying here, dollar store philosophy is to have dollar stores within walking distance. The corporate office is in Nashville, Tennessee. So based on their expansion, again, this is not financial advice, definitely do your own research, figure out what's going on in your portfolio. But even bigger than that, just taking a step back, America is moving more and more to the haves and the have-nots. And within the politicians and the way that I see them working, you know, based on capital trades that Jonathan showed to us the last time, they are investing based on the have and the have-nots. They're seeing this economic data, they're seeing inflation. Even though the government's not calling a recession, the politicians know what's happening. So I'm going to make a suggestion to everybody, and that is for as many of us as possible to be a part of the haves. You do not have to participate in the recession. I did that session on Thursday. I will send out the replay to everybody because I thought it was a good one. You don't have to participate in the recession. If you need to skill up, skill up. If you need to secure your job, do that. If you need to start a business so that you have extra income coming in, do that. But you do not have to be a part of the have-nots. We as Black people do not have to be a part of the have-nots. There are too many programs out here, and I'm not talking about, you know, WIC and things like that. I'm talking about like job programs that could get us to $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 within 3 to 6 months. There are too many Black people with very good programs that are willing to show us how they do their business so that we're able to make money as well. You got Jonathan here. He's talking about the different stocks that he's, looking at, different industries, different ways to study the market, etc. I just, want to put that out there. Wayne is asking for the link for the appliance repair. It is, hold on a second. It is appliancebootcamp.com. I'm going to put it in here for you, Wayne. Appliancebootcamp.com. Tell Mike that the 10K project sent you so that he can know you came from over here. And anybody, can take that link. Please take it. Please use it. So, Jonathan, you're back?
Yes, I'm back. Yes, I'm back. My
All
dog.
right. You got your Olive Garden?
No. I'm waiting on her to throw by.
Okay.
Waiting on her. I'll make sure my mom's taken care of. This is her birthday.
Oh my.
You ain't working, are you? No, mama.
We're not going to keep you but another 5 minutes. So I wanted you to comment though on the I don't know if you had a chance to see the article on with increase of 71% in Dollar Trees, dollar stores are expanding now. What are your thoughts with regards to that?
Should they hire franchisees?
I didn't even think about that, but you're right. Why doesn't some of the 10K project members come together and buy a franchise?
That's what I'm thinking. How much that we have to pay? 1.2, 2 million? Do we have to do a net worth valuation? I can show some balance sheets. That's real. That's really my company. But opportunity, Dollar Tree, 5 and below, Kroger stocks. Actually, Kroger, I'm paying attention to Kroger due to the fact that it's more cheaper than Walmart. I think it's opportunity because whenever they don't want something, this is where everybody needs to make a blitz for it.
Yes, I agree.
So I can't disagree.
Yeah. That's a really smart idea. So you got homework to do. And look, I
want to mention, but we running through time constraints.
So look, everybody, within our group here, within our membership, within our community, we are able to come out on top. So, stack your coins, pay off your debt, if you buy some assets, in the next 5, 10, 20 years, we could be totally different people. So
sign contract to the hedge funds. I got the hedge
say that again.
Buyers, but sign properties to hedge funds.
We'll bring you back to talk. We'll bring you back to talk about the hedge funds and the real estate because I know that's your thing as well.
I'm a realtor, man. Like I have cash buyers that are both Indian, Black people, Black women. And they're focusing on down south. So the California people, I said it. California people, if they come through and eat up everything, better hold on to your house, your vacant land lots, and start seeing if you can be able to develop something. Because with interest rates rising, renters is going to see more rents due to the fact that the person that own the property has a higher debt service that they got to cover. So, always be matter of fact, let me give you the hedge buyers list right here. I got 7 of them. Whoever that emails me gets 23. But
y'all better grab Jonathan's email.
Y'all better. I'm telling you that they eat up everything. But these are my hedge fund buyers. I'm gonna put in the chat. And I need to list that because it was irresponsible of me not giving it to you, knowing that I got all these information. So they're nationwide. They buy in Atlanta, Georgia. They buy in Tennessee. They buy in Las Vegas, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. So let me see if I got that right.
This could be your side hustle. Don't forget your children. Check with your accountant on this, but every accountant I have said this to has shaken their head. Your children, do not give them an allowance. Set up your entity, whether it's an LLC or a corporation, put them on payroll, and they are part of your research team. Put those children to work. They get experience, and you get a tax write-off. So
plus carried interest, baby.
yeah. And then you can work closely with Jonathan on the real estate thing, and you could have some windfall money coming in and pay off your debts faster too. Yeah. So
when I got nationwide buyers, I got New Jersey for all my East Coast people out there. I got those markets. So let me give you guys the buyers list, because I'm in a good mood. My mom's in a good mood. I called her. She's just happy to see me at this point. So we doing really good. So this is nationwide buyers.
And Natasha on YouTube is saying she just subscribed to you. So Romy, did you have any final comments? I know you probably want to go and spend some time with your hubby.
Actually, the beach.
The beach. Well, you go enjoy the beach, my dear. I'm going to email you as well. But everybody, if you are serious about paying off your student loan debt, free resource here for you to be a part of Romy's session. So take advantage of these things. Take advantage of these things. So thank you, Romy, for being here tonight.
Thank you, Romy.
Thank you all for having me. Thank you so much. I have so much respect for the 10K project and all the work that you all are doing. So thank you all. And thank you, Cherie, for helping to create and establish this beautiful community.
Thank you so much. We hope you'll come back sometime.
Of course, of course.
All right, everybody. Jonathan, final words from you.
I'm just happy and I'm here. My last words is, in my opinion, we are literally at the last frontier. And when it comes to recession, depression, or any type of market correction, there's still opportunity. Please don't give up. Never give up. Because you got people that look at the news, look at headlines, and they feel like everything is closing in on them. One thing is for sure, if you guys are working, like I work with buyers, so I'm always going to make sure that any hot spot where people say, well, property taxes gone up, I always make sure that I give them my buyers list so they can give the full maximum price. Because my hedge fund buyers, they buy market rate. So a lot of you guys have seen your neighborhoods shoot up to 200% in the past 3 years. But my final thoughts is, please don't give up. When it comes to stocks, look at the government backing, look at politicians who are they affiliated with, and be able to understand that capital trades your friend. Google search, start asking around, start figuring out who is affiliated with who is connected with who. But I appreciate everything with the 10K project, Cherie, Rami. I appreciate both of you guys' content. I appreciate that, because student loan debts is hard for a lot of people to get over, and that's something that's commendable. If anybody wants to get in contact with me, creditbuilder475@gmail.com. That's creditbuilder475@gmail.com. I gave you the hedge fund buyers list. That's 7 hedge funds. I got 23 in the clip. That's 7. And I gave you the nationwide part of the nationwide buyers that have 20 million assets or more. So these are cash buyers in your area. If you find something that's dilapidated, so creditbuilder475@gmail.com. I appreciate you, Cherie. And
thank you so much. And everybody, I am, oh, okay, Ty, I see you in here. I'm going to put Jonathan's information in here. Everybody, I put Jonathan's YouTube in here as well. So check out his YouTube, definitely. Ty is in Facebook. Ty, I'm going to give you Jonathan's email
Please do.
And yes, and email him and he will tell you the 411. So, and also Romy,
Yes.
the student loan, let's see here. We had so many people giving great comments in here. Here we go. payuphair@gmail.com. So we have somebody, Ty, in the Facebook group. So I want to make sure that she sees everything that we have
Yes.
here.
Payuphair@gmail.com. We currently have a student loan initiative, a free student loan initiative where we're assisting students or student loan borrowers with accelerating paying down their student debt.
Yes. So we have somebody here, Shalonda, saying Biden's campaign of no student loan debt reminded me of my son's 5th grade run for VP of student council, 20 minutes of longer recess time. He had majority of the votes, but none of the kids understood he didn't have the authority to make that decision.
Sadly.
And with that, that was funny. Thank you so much. We needed that laugh tonight, Shalonda. Okay, everybody, good night. And we shall see you tomorrow night for the Bet on Black pitch and at 6 o'clock for if you want to be a paid professional motivational speaker. We are having Brian come tomorrow night as well. Okay,